Welcome back to Prepper Talk Radio here in our second hour here at K-Talk AM 1640 in Salt Lake City, Utah. We sure appreciate you joining us. And we're going to continue on where we left off this last segment. And I'm going to ask the question again. Have you stopped prepping? Have you slowed down prepping? Have you prepped at all?
Are you on prepping pause?
Are you on prepping pause?
You know,
Do you think you have everything?
I talked to a lot of people that are like, oh, well, I'm good right now. I've gotten everything I need.
Mm-hmm.
We were in such a mad rush that we got it all before Trump got elected because we were so worried about Hillary getting elected.
Right.
And other people are like, well, I'm not really worried right now. There's nothing really to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see the people in California dealing with the fires, and I see the people in Hawaii. You know, I've got a sister out there, and I've got a cousin that just moved out there last week, and they're both live streaming videos of rain splashing down, and they've got bags around the house, you know, little flood bags, sandbags, but they're not sandbags. They're these water-absorbing bags. They're kind of cool technology. So they store flat when they're dried.
Mm-hmm.
But then when the flood hits,
you get saturated.
You hit them with water before the flood hits so that they saturate and fill. And then when the flood hits, it holds the water out, like works as a little dam.
Cool.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But they've got those stacked around their homes. Like, and then I hear all these other people like, oh, we don't have to worry because we don't live there. And it's no big deal. I'm in La La Land, right? Like they're delusional that nothing's going to happen to them.
Because nothing ever has.
Well, it's also the delusion of I can drive around recklessly and I'll be fine, right? You're eventually.
I don't need insurance.
You're going to hurt someone or get hurt. Like that's just statistics are against you in every way, shape, and form. And so, to think I don't have to prep or I shouldn't be prepping or I can take a break, I think is folly. I think there's an opportunity to kind of reassess what you have and what you really need. You know, and every time that you feel like there's a pause, you should be reassessing really quickly.
And maybe not just reassessing, but questioning, why is there a pause? Why do I feel like there's a pause? Am I just being left in the dark? Is anything happening outside of what I'm unable to see right now? Do I need to look deeper? But I think it's also a great opportunity, again, I'm going to say it again, look to the past. And like you say, oh, this has never happened before, so it's not going to happen to me. But if you look to the past and you know the past, and that's one of my guiding principles, looking to the past, then you'll see how this could very easily happen in my lifetime.
Now, isn't the Dow Jones on a record-setting pace right now?
Oh, yeah.
Like it's going up like gangbusters.
Yeah, it went up another 100-something today. I was going to check and see. We haven't broken the all-time high again, which is just I think low 26,000 something.
But isn't that similar to the last time right before it crashed?
Absolutely.
You know, isn't it? These are all cyclical events. Like it's just normal. I mean, there's groups I think that I tend to focus more on the end times game plan, right? And try to get myself spiritually prepared as possible,
aspect,
right? That's kind of how I look at it. And when I say end times, I'm talking like the world as we know it's going to change, right? It's going to be different. The powers of evil and the powers of good, right? There's going to be the whole reckoning. So from a biblical standpoint, from a Christian standpoint, that's where I come from, right?
Yeah.
But I also prepare for the oh crap moments, right? Because we're on the radio, I'm not going to cuss. I probably wouldn't cuss anyways because I've calmed down quite a bit since those days. But there are those oh crap moments, right? Oh crap moments could be a car wreck. It could be a freak storm. It could be wind the other night so hard it blew off shingles on my roof. Now I've got to get on my roof and fix those, right? Do I have spares? Not enough. I've got to go buy some more. Great. Times are tough. Finances aren't so great. I'm going to have to go into debt to buy some shingles for my roof. Like that's what we need to be preparing for, right? That's the common sense preparedness that I think most of the world is lacking right now, or at least most of America. As I'm not traveling the world currently to see how everyone else is living, I don't know.
Yep.
So I can't speak on that. But I think we have a huge opportunity to take care of the little things right now and really make sure that we're getting better, well-rounded.
Yeah, that's a very complex topic, what you're getting into there, and we probably don't have time in a week to go over that entire topic. But I think you're absolutely right.
Let alone an hour. I mean,
let alone just an hour, half an hour here. But like you're saying is, take this apparent lull which I guarantee you, and I'm telling you straight out right
manufactured.
now, it's not. It's not a lull. It is intended to keep us from prepping, honestly.
Yep.
And to put that very straightforward and bluntly, they don't want us prepping, and they say they, and that's very, those who would have control over us. I know we won't get into this, but there are entities, there are groups that, they want control. They have money, they have everything they want, and they want control. And so everything we see is manufactured and engineered to keep us feeling comfortable and spending money and going into debt to keep this system, their system, alive and well. And I don't intend to go into depth on this, but essentially what we're seeing now is complacency. And again, looking to the past, there should never be a period of in your life of complacency to prepare for what may come. And then, of course, this is, again, common sense that used to be, that is not so much now with those who aren't awake, whose eyes aren't open.
Yep.
So if that should be, for me, that's a red light. If things are going well and I'm paying my bills and I'm saving some money and things, and there's no troubles and I don't see any issues, that should be a big red light, and it is to me that I need to either look deeper and prepare harder because something is going to happen. I mean, that's just life. That really is just life.
Well, and it's interesting. I mean, we get complacent with life, or we get too busy. Like our first caller at the top of the first hour, we get so busy because global economics,
we're forced
and
to be there. Like
the micro and macro of the universe right now is to keep us slammed just to survive, right?
Yes.
Or at least that's what we think we have to do.
Distract.
But we could simplify.
Exactly.
I think that's where it comes back to the minimalizing our life. Like,
yes.
Do you need the big house you've got if it's a big house? Do you need the nice new car? Do you need to have the premier components? Do you need, can you whittle down a little bit and live simpler? Like, we would not have survived this last year if we weren't renting out our basement and if we hadn't already paid off our cars when we went through our financial hardship. Now that we're coming back out of it, like, I'm taking note of the things that worked and the things that didn't work, and I'm fixing those. And so, yeah, we may have a lull globally or according to the media on things to worry about. I'm still hyper aware of, okay, we need to fix this, we need to get that done, because those things don't go away. Life's going to creep up on you and startle you, and it's the bully that's going to give you a wedgie and leave you in the bathroom hanging all by yourself. Like, that's what life does. And sometimes you can get off the hook and move on and everything's okay. Other times you're going to have that wedgie for 3 hours and someone's going to have to rescue you. Having a pocket knife, you can cut the back of those shorts and wander off, right? But it's having the right tool for the right predicament. And that's where I think a lot of those in the preparedness world are failing right now, is they aren't thinking of what else could happen right now to be prepared. And I think if we take a minute to do that and ask that question, we'll find there's something very simple, very usually free, that we can be doing to better kind of keep us safe. Yeah.
Okay, we've got a call here. Let's go ahead and see what they've got to say. Hello, let me try again. Hello, you're live here on Prepper Talk Radio. Did you have a comment for us?
Yes. The lull right now is also a really good time to take advantage of lower prices.
Yes.
Especially, I've been looked at ammo the other day, and it's down $3 to $5 for a box of 50 on 223.
That's
and
phenomenal.
Not as cheap as it was before the first collapse, but it has come down. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you can also find 22 rounds.
Yeah, 22s are abundant now.
You can find them.
22 rounds are abundant right now.
Yeah, still more expensive, a lot more expensive than they used to be, but you can get them pretty.
But you
pretty
can
much
get them.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. Is there are things you can get right now that were hard to get months ago, a year ago, right? And I think this caller, what's your name?
Tom,
thank you so much for calling in. I mean, that's huge. There's so many sales going on. Like one of them, I don't know if you guys have seen this. I threw it up on our page a minute ago. AMP3. They've been to PrepperCon every year. They're all over the place. Emergency room inspired. Like the guy that created all their first aid kits is an ER doc. Go check them out. AMP-3.net. use promo code SUMMER, and you'll save 15% right now.
Cool.
But like that, ammo, food, like everything's on sale. You got your tent on sale.
Yeah. Yeah, my tent, I got it at a fantastic price. And I think these retailers are suffering a little bit right now because of this lull, which means you and I can get things at better deals.
Bargain prices. Go sell that big, horrible thing you don't need that's sitting in the backyard or whatever, right? Go sell something and replace it with something you can use. I think you're right on, Tom. Like, there are so many abundant sales right now that you can really get prepared on a discount. And you're fighting inflation when you do that.
What else have you seen out there, Tom?
And food is, your basic food is still priced the same, but some of your survival pack foods prices down a little bit too.
Oh, and they'll do group bulk offers. Like, I guarantee if you call any of the food storage companies and say, hey, we've got 5 people wanting to buy, what kind of deal can you give us? They're going to be happy to work something out for you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's so many ways right now with the way the economy is of the preparedness world that you can get special deals. Even if there's not a sale, ask for a sale.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, absolutely, definitely ask.
It's actually the right time to do more and not less.
Amen. Yes,
amen.
Thank you for that.
And hallelujah.
Absolutely. And another thing that, of course, jumps out to me. You have anything else to say there, Tom?
No, that's it for now.
Okay. Thanks,
awesome.
Tom. Appreciate the call. Tom. Let you go.
We kind of stumbled over him. Yeah. Sorry about that, Tom.
We tend to do that. Apologize. So another thing that's on sale, I bet you know what I'm going to say. Scott.
Knives.
No, knives aren't really.
Okay, then the second one. Well, the second one I know is your precious metals, your gold and silver.
Exactly.
Prices have dropped.
And I'm going to say silver in particular, right? Because I'm a silver bug. But yeah, absolutely. Gold and silver prices have gone down dramatically in the past couple of weeks. And I think this is going to be very temporary, very short period of time, and it's going to go back up dramatically. And, there's a lot of reasons we could talk about that. But silver in particular, and let me put on my little soapbox here for a minute, silver is money. Gold is money. Nothing else is money. Copper, maybe used to be. Platinum, palladium, they're not money. Gold and silver are money. Cash currency is not money. We use it to get what we need, but it's not money.
It's a debt transfer notification. So anything according to what I've learned from the Federal Reserve is that every dollar, it costs as much to make a dollar as it costs to make a $20 bill or a $100 bill, right? Costs the same amount of money.
Yep.
And so they print whatever they need whenever they want, right? They're completely autonomous. They don't care. The government can't control it.
And they don't actually print much of anything anymore.
Most of it's just digital magic. They're just like, oh, there's $4 more million, right, hitting the markets.
Billion.
But here's the crazy thing. Every note is actually a debt transfer document. And the backing of it is, if you use this, you are purchasing something with this dollar on behalf of the Federal Reserve.
Because the dollar belongs to the Federal Reserve.
It's their dollar. They control it. We may hold it, but they control it. It's theirs. And it's backed by them. So everything we're buying we're just holding it for them.
Is what they think.
And I'm like, wow, that's going to be really interesting when they try to come take it. Like,
so take some of those debt notes and go down to your local coin shop.
Well, then it's their coins.
And exchange it. Yeah, but they can't track it. They don't know you have it.
Depends on how many you buy at a time.
That's why you take cash.
Yep.
And there's our music. Well, that came up quick. We'll touch on this a little bit more right after.
Yeah, we're going to continue that.
Yeah, thanks for listening to Prepper Talk Radio here on K-Talk, 1640 AM in Salt Lake City. Please support our sponsors. They're the reason we're here on the air, that we are able to broadcast. And we'll catch you guys after the break. All right, welcome back to the show. You're listening to Shane and Scott here on Prepper Talk Radio on AM 1640 in Salt Lake City, broadcasting live at 3:23 and 45 seconds in the afternoon here. We're happy to be with you on this Friday afternoon and hope that you will continue to follow us on Facebook, Instagram. That's mainly where we're at, is on Facebook, and me on it. Myself on Instagram as Prepared Guy.
We have one on Instagram, but it is shut down.
We're not doing much.
It's the email address that I set it up with has been shut down, and so I can't.
You got to start over again. All right.
So my bad.
Connect with us on Facebook, Prepper Talk Radio, or myself, Prepared Guy, and we would love to hear your comments and what you'd like to hear in the future. Hear us talk about. Hear us stumble over about. Now, after we wanted to get back into what we were just talking about, the last segment, and then we'll quickly transition a little bit. Hopefully you haven't stopped prepping. Hopefully you see this as an opportunity to step up your efforts, to redouble your efforts, to become more prepared. And, of course, we follow, as we mentioned, the survival rules of 3, shelter, water, food as your basics. Yep. And also what go hand in hand with those are safety and first aid.
Protection and first aid.
Protection.
Right?
Yes, safety, protection.
Safety covers both.
Yes.
So safety is first aid and self-defense, protection, right? But splitting it out, perimeter awareness, what's going on around you, situational awareness, having a first aid kit with you in your car everywhere you go. That's why I shouted out to AMP3, amp-3.net. It's promo code summer, get some stuff. Awesome stuff, all designed by an ER doc.
And that's truly where knowledge is power when it comes to first aid and medical knowledge.
Yep.
That is absolute true power there to save a life or and that's on the dramatic side.
Well, they do first aid training at every expo I've ever gone to. I mean, those guys plus like Shield Safety. There's so many different companies out there that provide first aid training for almost free. Like, get on that. Like, hello, discount, go do it, right? And then you can get their gear, which is phenomenal.
Buy some stuff from them.
I think it always comes back to you've got more abilities and more opportunity than you think. Right now, as Tom said, it's like perfect time. Everything's on sale. Like right now is ideal time to be getting more stuff done.
And I think in the near future, you will see that is much more. You'll see how true that is more abundantly in the future. How everything right now is on sale.
Oh yeah.
And what I'm referring to is our economy. Yes, supposedly it's robust now. Yes, supposedly we have low unemployment, and supposedly our GDP is growing. It's at 4.1, whatever, and supposedly things look good. But let me tell you, my view of it is that things are not good, and they're not going to get better before they get much worse. And whether that entails a reset, a collapse, whatever that is, I don't know, but that's what I'm preparing for. So what I'd like to take this segment for is I've got a list of 10 ways to prepare for imminent economic collapse. Now, imminent, I did use that word
guaranteed.
Purposefully. Guaranteed is the right word. Now, Scott and I were discussing briefly before the show the
international banking stuff.
Well,
or are we talking about more the?
Well, we're talking about the collapse of the.
The U.S. economic collapses. They've always been engineered.
They've always been engineered. Yes, thank you. As I stumble over
the international banking conglomerates have created a system, and propped it up using the Fed is their system, and they've propped it up so that actually controls the economy. They can flood the market. They can pull the market. They can actually control other banks by forcing them to do deals.
And if you think the Great Depression was by accident, then you need to do some more research. It was done on purpose, and so that goes to makes me think that the next one is going to be done on purpose as well. Yeah. And there's plenty of evidence that leads to that, including the cover of the the 1983 Economist magazine, saying in 2018 to prepare for a new world currency, which with that comes collapse or reset, which is not good for us.
Nope. And it completely takes all the control that we think we have and wipes it out, right? Yep. You have none whatsoever.
That's what it's about, is about their control over us.
Now, one of the fun things is you can question what we're saying, and I hope you do. I hope you question everything you say and do your own research. One of the best books I found on this topic specifically is None Dare Call It a Conspiracy, published in the 1970s. Really goes through the two political parties and how they're both kind of a sham, and what the media is doing to cover it up, and how they're all interconnected, but most importantly, how the financial crises are controlled and pretty much
designed and
scheduled
for a purpose. Yeah,
right. And so you can go read that, and it actually cites all the sources where all that information is pulled from, which I think is phenomenal. In fact, we have a caller. Maybe they want to talk about this or something else. But
it's lighting up at our line. Let's see if we can take this.
Bring it on.
Hello, you're live here on Prepper Talk Radio, and there's
they hung up.
Tone. So
sorry we missed you. It was probably the Rothschilds. calling to complain.
Well, it's red. I mean, Red Shield.
It was red.
Rothschild, Red Shield.
Red Shield.
So it was obviously Rothschild. So, okay, here's a list of 10 ways
I'm going to take off my tinfoil hat so we can talk about real stuff now.
No, you can keep that on. It's okay here. It's perfectly acceptable in the Purple Talk Radio K-Talk studio here to have your tinfoil hat on.
We need to have Jake join us for these conversations.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Then it'd be a lot of hilarity.
We wouldn't get much.
We wouldn't get much done, and he would definitely bring out tinfoil to make hats. So,
yes, he would. So 10 ways to prepare for the imminent economic collapse. The number one, Scott, do you have a guess? What's the number one way to prepare for economic collapse?
I would say don't be overconfident.
Get out of debt.
Okay.
But, that's definitely on the list here.
Overconfidence meaning, like for me, for economics, overconfidence is spending more
taking
than
too much
you
risk.
have, right?
Yeah.
It's risk. It's living on credit cards, living on borrowed time, borrowed money.
Absolutely.
Because that's always going to come back and can sway quickly. I mean, your credit card company can change the interest rate at the snap of a finger.
And you could lose your job next week, too.
Yeah, or you could have a accident and now be unable to work, and maybe you don't have disability insurance, short-term disability. Like, there's so many things you can really... Finance is such a huge thing.
Oh, yeah.
That it's kind of hard to cover all the bases in 20 minutes or in 18 minutes.
Yeah, this is just my list here. Number one, get out of debt.
Okay.
Debt is slavery. You lose freedom, you lose control, and that's a big topic for Scott and I is freedom. It's about freedom to choose, liberty, the right to choose for ourselves. And when you give that away by enslaving yourselves to debt, you lose that.
You're basically hiring a new master every time you go into debt. You're hiring a new master to torment you, right? Those sleepless nights, those waking moments that you're like, how am I going to pay my next bill? You did this to yourself 9 times out of 10.
And it's called usury for a reason, right?
Yep.
Interest rate is usury, and it used to be illegal back in, again, look to the past, way to the past. Usury was illegal, and for a purpose because people actually had morals and conscience back then, right? So next one, number 2, find new sources of income. Find additional sources of income, right?
So this is going down the Robert Kiyosaki path of multiple streams of income, right?
Absolutely.
Great options. I mean, you could go do affiliate networking or affiliate marketing. You could do multi-level marketing. You could do rental properties, right? Be careful not to leverage yourself into a debt position, right?
You can mow lawns.
You can mow lawns. You can drive Lyft or Uber.
There you go.
You can do. There's even Deal Dash, like where you can go drive meals to people. There's so many different ways you can take things that are current liabilities. Like my car is a liability. Everyone, if you think even if your car's paid for, it's a liability. Yeah. Here's why: you're paying insurance on it,
maintenance.
You're paying maintenance on it. You're paying fuel to use it, and it's not making you any money. Unless it is. If it is making you money, then it's moving into the performing asset category, and at that point, it's helping you. So if you can find something to take your car from a liability to a performing asset, great. If you can find something even better that's like passive income, that's fantastic.
And if you have your own business and you're driving your vehicle,
there's
performing your business, you can deduct your mileage. I'm not sure for how much longer that's going to last, but
yeah, and I guess next year the Trump changed the minimum deductions platform, so now it's even harder to really get your dollar's worth. But the key here is get creative, find ways to make other revenue. I think there's so many other ways you can do it. Like if you're crafty, get on the Etsy site and sell your stuff, right? Get on if you're local KSL and sell stuff that you're not using or that you can make.
Even something simple, like us being preppers. I love knives, I love gear. I could always set up a wholesale account, buy something at wholesale, and turn around and sell it at retail on KSL on one of the classifieds, something like that.
Or you can
make
drop
a few
ship.
bucks.
There's so many companies you can drop ship.
There's so many ways to do it.
The digital world is giving you a lot of tools that are we really using them? And there's ways you can learn how to use them better.
Or are we sitting in front of the TV because we had a difficult day at work, right? And we want to relax. And I get that. We all need some time to relax and unplug. But
read a book.
Gain some knowledge.
Knowledge. Like
exactly.
I'm trying to plow through more books in my life right now because I get more value out of that than I do reading or than I do watching TV. Watching TV dulls the mind, and it just it puts you in like zone out mode. Whereas reading, I feel engaged and I actually feel refreshed after reading. And it makes you want to go do something else. Like we just got gym memberships because I was like, hey, I'm reading. I want to do some more stuff, and we're watching less TV. And
Born to Run.
Tonight we're going. Oh, that's a fun. Let's get on that in a second.
Yeah.
Tonight we're going to go to the pool. we're going to go to the pool with our little girl and we're going to swim for a while.
Get some exercise.
We're going to get some exercise. I'm going to swim some laps. I've dropped 16 pounds.
Fantastic.
You know, almost 17 pounds right now in just over a month and a half. Like, because I'm getting active and I'm getting engaged and I'm not being complacent. So there's so many things you can do. And I think getting to the topic of Born to Run, phenomenal book. Another one is Natural Born Leaders, another phenomenal book. But they both go into looking to the past to understanding the current world and how to move to the future.
That's one thing I really loved about that book, and thank you for sharing that with me, because it is taking in old world ways of running.
Well, I wanted to change your paradigm, right?
Oh, I needed that change.
When I read it, I was like,
a huge change for me.
I was already doing a lot of sandals and barefoot, and
me, no.
And Shane's like, why aren't you wearing military-style boots to protect your feet?
In order to be prepared wherever
you go. Where's your steel toes? And what?
And my mind has completely been changed because of that book. And I think we're going to take another show.
Yeah, within reason.
No, absolutely.
But, like, for example, like right now I'm wearing shoes, but they're almost zero drop shoes, meaning that it's better for my foot, my balance, my knees, my joints, my alignment.
Yeah.
Right? In Born to Run, talks about all those things. It also talks about movement and how we're really intended to move. Right now we kind of move on our heels.
And I think one thing that was really, and not to drag this subject on for too long, but one thing that really stood out to me is that the runners who have more injuries are wearing the most expensive shoes.
Yes.
And those who have the least injuries have the least expensive shoes, or even run barefoot or in sandals.
Yep.
So,
and our good buddy Tyler White, T-Jack Survival on YouTube, dude runs like crazy. Guy's a gazelle. I don't know what he's made of, but it's like all sinew and wiry, and he can just run. But he runs almost barefoot. He runs in these same shoes. I can't remember the native Mexican Indians.
Huarachis or something like that?
Yeah, I can't ever say it right.
Yeah. Anyway, so, and then that's kind of, again, going back to the minimalist kind of prepping, which I think we'll take an entire show and talk about minimalist prepping.
But I mean, it goes back to like, okay, how can I improvise a shoe out of something else, right? You go to South Africa and almost every kid you see, my brother served a mission out there, and he's like, dude, these shoes are crazy. It's sandals made out of tire tread. And it's like some guy's got this really sharp machete, and he's just plunges it into a piece of wood, and then he just takes the tire and he cuts it on the machete and shapes it until it's done the way he wants it to. I shared a video a few weeks ago, almost the same thing, and I'm like, this is what these guys are doing. They're repurposing something that's super tough, but that's not very advanced, and it works fantastically.
It has done a world difference to relieve my mind of feeling the need to have a dozen different pairs of shoes and boots for when things go south and I'm not able to buy shoes and boots. Now I'm much more confident in going around either bare feet or minimal footwear. But we'll get to that in another one.
We'll do a full episode on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so number 3, when we're running out of time here for this
we got a whole other segment after this.
I know. We're going to do something else, though. But
no, we're not.
Okay. All right, cool. So reduce expenses.
Budget.
These are all some pretty common sense things, right?
No, not really.
For some people, no, I think you're right.
Most of America is in debt, and most of America is in financial despair because they don't have a budget and they don't stick to it. Right? That's why guys like Dave Ramsey are making a killing right now. His whole baby steps program, like basically, it's self-inflicted, beat yourself out of debt type of thing. Like it's like Rocky going rounds with Rocky, but yeah, I don't know how to make that in a good analogy or simile. But basically, it's unbearable at times to go through his program, but. Programs like that actually work if you'll stick to it. But you can stay away from the super painful stuff by setting a budget and reducing costs, like checking your insurance. Is there a better deal out there? Do I have to have 10 gigs of data on my phone, or since I'm only using 5, can I get a plan with 5? Or do I need unlimited? Like, are there ways you can reduce costs? And there absolutely are. We did this project about a month and a half ago in our household, and we cut our normal bills by almost $400 a month.
That's significant.
That's huge. That's like picking up a part-time job.
That's buying a month's worth of food, more than a month's worth of basic food every month.
And that's totally changed. We went from a little bit underwater to now our head's above water. And we've taken that money, that difference, and we're actually slamming that into debt. The majority of that's going into debt. Some of that's going into emergency savings again, because that's kind of what we lived off last year. or resupplying that. But reducing is phenomenal.
And again, I'm rehashing this. Look to the past, prepare for the future, live differently now. Change your lifestyle. You don't have to live like the Joneses. You don't have to live like the commercials tell you. You don't have to have everything that's pitched to you in this evil advertising campaign of everything you see. It's thrust upon you every single day.
One of the phrases I've heard, which I think is kind of phenomenal, is live like no one else. So you can live like no one else.
Live like no one else now, so you can live like no one else.
Live like no one else, meaning be more frugal, be more strict on yourself. Even Gary Vee, like he's so freaking popular online right now. He is basically regurgitating the wisdom of all these other guys for a whole new generation. Like Jim Rohn. Like I've heard more Jim Rohn quotes reused by Gary Vee than by anybody else, and he's doing it in a way that's really connecting with society.
Cool. We are at our break. We will come back after the break and continue on this topic. We've got
so much more to cover.
7 more to cover after this break, so hopefully we can do that. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you after the break. And there's our music. Welcome back to the show. You're listening to Shane and Scott here on Prepper Talk Radio. And we'll continue on with our topic of the 10 ways to prepare for imminent economic collapse. We just touched on reducing expenses. And I think we just need to, and I found this, of course, true in my life. Whenever I speak this way, I'm coming from my own point of view, my own experience, is we need to get out of the mindset, the brainwash that we've been in, that I grew up since I was a kid, and break free from that and look to our past foolish traditions and move away from them. Because we don't have to live like we're told to live, and we can save a lot of money that way.
Well, most of everything we're told is basically media advertising, marketing advertising. Yep. Someone's trying to sell you something, right? The cool thing I love about what we do is I don't make any money, so I can tell you whatever I want to, because it's not tied to any agenda or income. It's like, there it is. Yep. And you can take it for what it's worth. You can take it and use it however you want. Like, that's the key, I think, to being successful in having peace and quality in life, like, is being able to process everything and then choose what is right for you.
And once you're aware of the agenda of whoever's advertising to you, you can make a more informed decision. If you need a life insurance, okay, then listen to the advertising and give them a call. And but you're aware, like when you're a sales guy and someone tries to sell you something, red lights are going off left and right. It's like, hey, I'm a sales guy. I know exactly what you're doing, right? I think that's exactly what position it puts you in when you are aware of, and when you need to purchase something and get something that you need, or even that you want. Say you want to get a boat, right? I mean, that's it.
Sure.
I don't want a boat, but
that's where you take money. And if you're not sure what it's like to own a boat, here's how you do it.
This
is how you practice. Walk into the bathroom, lift the toilet seat, and
throw your cash
and lift the wallet out of your pocket, and just start dropping everything, plastic and cash. Just drop it in there. That's what it feels like to own a boat.
Except for maybe it's a little more fun at times.
Well, have someone splash some water on you while you're doing it, because then it'll feel like a real boating excursion.
Right, there we go. So, okay, number four, grow your own food.
Yes.
Now, this is not as easy, obviously, as it is stated. Just grow some of your own food.
Well, I think we there's some simple things we can do, and there's the hard things. Like, the hard thing is a garden, right? For most of us, that's a hard thing because it takes more time. The simple thing is go plant some fruit trees.
Okay.
Go plant some raspberry bushes.
Learn how to sprout.
There's simple things you can do, and there's hard things you can do. Start with the simple.
And the key there is to start and to practice. Like, for my experience in my yard, we have a lot of trees that provide a lot of shade, which it makes for a nice yard, but it makes for terrible growing environment. So what I've learned grows well in my yard are peas, do really well, cherry tomatoes, and my raspberries have done very well.
Raspberries like shade and
they're doing great. And my potatoes are doing okay. They're not doing great. They're doing okay. My tomatoes never do well. So I'm learning that next year I'm not going to try tomatoes again. Sorry, honey. They just don't do well in our yard, except for the cherry tomatoes do pretty well. So that takes time to learn. And of course, it has to do with your soils and everything as well, too. So, but learning and producing your own food creates more stability. You aren't so dependent upon the system to provide you with your food.
Well, even try things like, and it's not just gardening, right? You can also do, chicken and and collect
absolutely.
eggs, and you can
grow your own food,
grow
produce your own
rabbits,
food.
you know.
Yep.
And if you got the land, you can go bigger. You know, you can get cattle, you can get other types of livestock, goats, lambs, alpacas, you know, emus, whatever you want to try to do. Give it a shot. It's worth it. It'll be at the very least a good learning experience, and it'll give you a different perspective on life.
And it's also a way to reduce your expenses
And reduce stress.
and supplement.
Gardening actually has been studied, and one of the reports says that it actually reduces daily stress by spending a little time in your garden every day.
Working with your hands.
Yep.
Getting your hands in the dirt.
Feeling nature.
Absolutely. And that's another thing that kind of, the book, the Born to Run book, getting connected with nature, getting grounded. I think it's called grounding.
Grounding.
Putting your bare feet in the earth, putting your bare hands in the earth and connecting
Not
to
just on the
Mother Nature.
sidewalks, not just on your driveways, not just in your
the
house,
dirt.
but get out in the grass, get out in the dirt, get out on the trails.
God made dirt, so dirt don't hurt. You got to be in the dirt. You got to be connected.
True.
So next one, water. Make sure you have a reliable water supply. Now, my water, coming into my house has never really been shut off that I can remember. We've never really had any interruptions. I don't remember any boil order, warnings or anything like that. So I've got a pretty good water supply there, but that's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about know where your nearest river is. Know where a spring is. If you're near a mountain, know where that spring is, where you can go.
I just spoke in church a few weeks ago, and that was part of my topic. It was like, hey, did you know there's a spring over here? Did you know there's a creek over here?
Way to go. Spill the beans to everybody.
Did you know, well, they're my neighbors. If they've got the resources as well, then I have less to worry about.
Yep.
Oh, hey, we've got a golf course, and they've got all these standing ponds. Not the best water,
but you can use it.
when you can't get to the creek, you can get to the standing pond, and that's why you have your filters and your boiling and your other solutions. But find out what your resources are locally. Because I guarantee you, most of you don't have a clue what's near you.
And how long does it take you to walk there? And how much can you carry when you're unable to, or when you've used up all your water storage in your home?
So barrels and buckets are the worst idea for going to collect water. My favorite, get the really heavy-duty garbage bags, like the construction garbage bags, double those up, fill one, twist it off, tie it off, drop it in the other, twist it off, tie it off, throw it in your backpack. You can carry like 4 gallons in a big backpack. It's not going to be fun to carry that, but you can do a gallon, 2 gallons, 3 gallons at a time and still have your hands free. And mobility is key.
And also look to solutions to transport that too, because water is 8.3 pounds per gallon, right? That's and each person technically needs at least 1 gallon of water per day. So I've got there's 7 in my house. That's a lot of water I'd have to come up with, and a lot of long distance to carry it. So come up with a plan of how to transport that as well, other than backpack
or the polymule, like build a cart.
A cart, a wagon of some sort. Come up with those plans now so that you don't have to figure it out when you get in a pinch and when you really need that water.
Absolutely.
So. All right, so that was number 5. Number 6, one of my favorite. Buy land. Buy land. And I guess what do I mean by buy land, it's not just a lot in a subdivision where I can build a house, right? I'm talking about farmland. I'm talking about usable land that I hopefully has water attached to it, whether it be a well or whether it be water rights, irrigation rights, those types of things, water shares.
I think that's a good idea, but I don't think it's feasible for most people.
It's a difficult one
and
to
I don't think
accomplish.
All people really want to live the farm lifestyle yet. I think being creative with what you have is going to outweigh buying land. You can do a tiny greenhouse in your house if you need to. You can do sprouting in your cupboard, or not your cupboard, in your windowsill. I mean, you can do other things to create food and do food, similar things to what you would be doing on land. So if you can't afford it, don't think that the road ends. Like, there's other options.
Right. But this is ways to prepare for an economic collapse, right?
Okay.
So the idea is to have something tangible, right? In an economic collapse, anything paper, anything that you can't hold in your hands pretty much goes away or loses a tremendous amount of value if you can't hold it. So say, like, for example, the next one is buy gold and silver. So land, gold, and silver, they're both tangible items that you can hold, that
they're
you
real
own.
property.
They're real property, and they have value. They have use, not just value, right? Gold and silver, because they are money and have had value for hundreds of thousands of years.
Pretty much as long as the Earth's been around.
They will have value. They will have use up to a certain point, and we won't go there. But land will always have use for living on, for growing on, and et cetera, et cetera. So to find yourself in a better situation on the other side of a collapse, coming out of a collapse, having those tangible items, gold, silver, real estate, or just call it land, call it a home, that is going to make a big difference. Okay, we got a call here. Let's go ahead and try and take this before we lose it here. Hello, you're live here on Prepper Talk Radio. You have a question or comment for us? Are you there? I can hear you. Oh, well. Goodbye. Sorry about that.
Can't hear you. So what's the next one on the list?
All right, next one was buy gold and silver. Next one, get at least partially off the grid.
I like that one. Not easy for everybody, depending on where you live. Again, kind of like the land one. But at least have something you can power life
Minimal.
Or simplify life, right? You can use hydropower, you can use solar power, you can use wind power. I mean, there's so many different things you can do.
And I think getting off the grid doesn't necessarily mean you have to produce your own power, but you can learn to live without power as well. A lot of your preps can be oriented so that you don't have to have power to run those preps. Like, yes, I have a generator. I don't count on using that for more than beyond the first couple of days of an emergency. Keep the fridge running, those types of things. And then after that, most of my preps don't require energy, don't require electricity. I have some solar charged, handheld flashlights, those types of things.
Yep.
So I'm learning to live without a grid.
The more passive you can get in your preparedness and in your sustainability, the easier it is for life to live.
And I think it also insulates you from a lot of, like say, rising prices. It insulates you from fragility, being tied to the grid, being subject to, if there's no grid power, there's no water.
Yep.
Right? There's no grid power. There's no air conditioning.
There's no sewer.
There's no, in many cases, you and I are both on good hills. We're going to have,
but I still have homes above me, and it can easily backfill.
It could be an issue.
Like that's a big issue. And anywhere you live, that could be an issue. So you got to know how to plug your drain so that it doesn't come back up into your home, right? If your home's still tenantable, right?
Yep. All right, so the last couple of minutes here, and I know you're going to love this one. This is number 10, but I do have a number 11. Develop stronger relationships. So community.
Yep.
And I know that's probably a little higher on your list.
I think that's more preparatory than anything else, because if you, like, when I ran PrepperCon, I built it on the premise of we want to create prepared families because prepared families create prepared communities, right? The more people we can get working together, the less any disruption is going to cause problems for everyone. We're going to be able to stave those things off. Like the big dam that ruptured in Idaho years and years ago, the community came together so quickly and so swiftly because they had those tight relationships that they worked those things out and they got through it. Same thing for when the hurricanes hit in the South. What's the Navy they called themselves? The Cajun Navy.
Oh, right.
The Cajun Navy is a community response. Guys with boats, swamp boats, all kinds of resources. These guys now train. They work together and prepare so they can go and help when help is needed. They work on those relationships. They work on that solid community and having a communication plan, having a come-together plan, so that when something happens, not if, when, you've got other people you can rely on and other people can rely on you.
And another aspect I see of that is not just your immediate community, but also create your own prepper community, right? Create your own close-knit group of friends. And I know you know what I'm talking about, Scott. And create those relationships so that when... Because you have your community, which can be limited. I mean, your resources can be limited. If you have another network beyond there, you're going to increase your resources. You're going to increase your knowledge, your ability to communicate further out.
Well, really, it all comes down to the ability to rebuild.
And to rebuild.
And prepping community is different from a regular community in the fact that the prepping community, we like to take stock of what we have and, more importantly, what skills everyone has and where our gaps are that we can fill those skills with other people, or we can go learn those. And the nice thing about like my community where I live, it's also kind of a prepper community. We've identified who the medical experts are. We've also identified all the other resources that we need and could think of. And we've got I've got medical gear like crazy, but I've got a guy across the street. His wife's a ER nurse, she doesn't have as much gear, but she's got the expertise. And we've got another guy around the corner who's a family practitioner who did a surgical rotation. Ho, ho, ho. We've got a lot of bases covered.
Yeah.
And there's 3 other doctors that I haven't even talked to get into the network that are in our community that, hey, if something happens, guess who's going to be called up, right? We're going to be like, hey, help us out.
Absolutely. And I think this is our break here. Our music's coming in. We appreciate you joining us. I'm going to throw out the very last number 11 is education. Get educated. That's one of the 10 top ways to prepare for imminent economic collapse. And I just want to say that a storm is coming. To me, it's very apparent. A storm is coming, and time is running out. Use the time we have now of abundance, of bargain prices to get prepared. And please connect with us on Facebook if you have any questions. We're happy to help. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Values increasing and low rates still available. Now is the perfect time to